Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing very well. It is very warm here in Northern California, so I apologize for the shine that is me, but it is not going away, so I'm having to deal with it. So I apologize if the lighting shows that I'm schwitzing a bit. I am super excited. It is the day before I leave to go to Book Expo in New York and meet up with all these friends of mine that are going to be there and hopefully meet some new people that I haven't met except for virtually. So I am super excited about that, but I got a lot going on, a lot of different things that I got to get done before I can leave tomorrow morning bright and early. So today's video is to wrap up the May book for Around the World in 1,000 Pages book club. For those of you that are new to my channel and you haven't participated so far, we are reading one book a month where we go from each continent. We started in North America and currently we are in Australia, where we read Foreign Soil, the short story collection by Maxine Beneba Clark. And then next month, just as a reminder, we will be heading to South America, where we will be reading Kiss of the Spider-Woman by Manuel Puig. And I said that wrong, I know, but I'm super excited about this book too. So yeah, you guys, so that's next month. And I haven't quite decided how the book club is going to continue. It is going to continue. A lot of people said they really like it, so I'm definitely going to continue it. I don't know what the form is going to take, but I will make that announcement in June once I've had a chance to sort of think about it, if I want to stay on the same theme or if I want to change it up. If you are, again, new, remember that the first sort of 10 minutes of this is going to be spoiler-free. I'll count you out when we start talking about specifics, and then the second section is all with specifics, and spoilers are allowed, so don't watch that section if you haven't read the book or you don't want to be spoiled. Now, this is a short story collection, which I have prepped how I'm gonna do this, and I'm finding it difficult. But I will say in the spoiler section, I'm really gonna focus on the stories that really moved me personally. Yeah, so I had a lot of favorites, and I think the short story collection is fantastic, but I'm finding it, because it's not one whole book, I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna break it up. We'll get there when we get there, but let's talk spoiler-free. Now, Maxine Beneba Clark is an Australian novelist. She currently lives in Melbourne, and I follow her on Twitter, and I adore her, and she's just really started posting on Instagram. She's really known for this short story collection and a memoir that came out called The Hate Race, which I don't think The Hate Race is actually available here in the United States yet, so I think I need to order it from abroad, but it's definitely something that I want to get and own and read, because Maxine Beneba Clark can write. And she's pretty well thought of, it appears, in Australia, because she has won a ton of literary awards. So how do you summarize and non-spoil a short story collection? That's really been the ache in my side. So I don't think in the future I'm going to pick short story collections, because I struggle with how to articulate in this one setting how we're going to talk about this. But here's what I will say. Maxine Beneba Clark is a master at creating a situation and characters with just enough information to draw you in and break your heart or get you angry or make you feel compassion with very little space, which is brilliant. I will say I wasn't quite ready for all the dialect that is in this book. There's a lot of dialect. So if you struggle with that, my answer is I read a lot of the dialogue out loud to sort of get the cadence and the pronunciation so I could understand it. And then once I did that in a couple of stories, I was able to really move forward with no problem. But it did take me a little bit, but you guys know how I am. I struggle with pronunciation all the time. So dialect is definitely something that I struggle with, but it didn't affect me from really loving all these stories. Now, the stories deal with such a myriad of topics. It would be hard to wrap it up, but it deals with people's places in the world. It deals with people of African backgrounds in very different places, from London, to the United States, to Australia. She takes on all of these different areas of the world and really connects the themes and the struggles of the people in such a way that you see the universality of what she is trying to say. I would say, I don't know if you guys felt this, but overall, this book is very, dark's not the right word. It definitely, but it sits on you. It's heavy. I think the themes are of racial segregation. There's a lot of stuff about how war has affected people. It's about internal racism within the different African communities. And it sits with a heavy heart that you read all of her stories. But what she does brilliantly is she gets you to either sympathize or understand all of her characters in such a way, even if they're doing things that you don't quite agree with, or you don't know if that would be the path that you would take, she can make you understand why they're doing what they're doing with very little effort. And I bet she would say it takes a lot of effort to be that effortless. And that's sort of the blessing we get as a reader, is that she's so effortless. She did all the heavy work for us. And she just blew my mind, you guys. Now, I do think for me, the first half of the collection was my favorite. The second half of the collection, I wasn't as engaged. And I don't think they are bad stories. They're actually excellent short stories. But there are a couple in the first section that just knocked me, two sides of Wednesday. So I think I kept waiting for that next story to do that. And it didn't happen in the second half, but I enjoyed all of them. And I definitely think that she is a brilliant writer. What she does do is create sort of in certain stories perspectives looking at the same situation differently. And gosh, I'm trying not to spoil anything for you guys that haven't read it, but there's a phenomenal short story. The first short story is called David. And after I read this short story, I had to stop and take a break because I was sort of so moved. My eyes were like watering that I knew that I wasn't going to get anything. This is the story of a woman who buys a bicycle, and her plan is to ride her own child around on a bicycle. She gets it. And she runs into another woman who is an immigrant, I want to say from Sudan, and she sees the bicycle. This woman sees the bicycle, and it triggers memories for her. So in the process of everything, you're getting sort of this combination of this woman who is buying this bicycle and why she's doing it and the decision she's making, and then also how this one object can spawn memory and sense memory for another person of a time or a person. That's all I'm going to say on that because I don't want to give any more away. But it is heart-wrenching, that story. And I think what Maxine Beneba Clark does so brilliantly is she has her characters become aware as you become aware. And as that's happening, you're sort of on this emotional journey with them throughout so many of the stories. I just felt like I was with so many characters. A lot of them I wish the story went on longer, but that is always my thing with short story collections. I'm like, I want the novel version because I'm so connected with these people, but it is what it is. So I think that's where I'm going to stop. I'm going to say if you guys love short story collections and are looking for something to just blow your mind, Foreign Soil will definitely do that. It's definitely pick-upable. And I think it's one, if you wanted to read one, put it down, read one, put it down. It's not interconnecting. So you can definitely do that if that's how you read short stories. And every one will make you think, will make you feel, will make you understand why Ms. Clarke is so amazing. So yeah, so there's the first part, there's the non-spoiler part, and I am going to count to 5, and if you haven't read the book, I'll see you next time. And if you have, we're going to talk about, I think, 2 or 3 short stories, because I definitely have a lot to say about one of them that I want to talk to you guys about. So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spoiler time. I do want to talk more about David, the first story. When I came to the realization that the woman was reliving sort of this moment where she last saw her son, which is in the last page, right? And you're watching this moment where she thinks she's getting her son back. And then you see that he's being chased. And you're thinking, okay, well, he's almost there. She gives you this sense of hope. And then she does two things that I think are utterly brilliant. She breaks your heart because David doesn't live, right? But then she breaks your heart again because the people who kill David are children themselves. And that is the brutality of this war in 3 to 4 sentences. And I know we've seen a lot of stuff about war in Sudan and these sort of children warriors, but what she did is, with just a few sentences, she turns that whole situation on its head. You want to hate these children. You want to hate the people that are going to kill David, but then you realize you can't hate the people that are going to kill David without understanding that they're children themselves. Whew, that was heart-wrenching. And it took me a minute. I couldn't even finish the story once that part happened, and I wasn't very far from the end. But then I took a deep breath, and then I think what is so good is the laughter and the hope that she does once the woman sort of is remembering the last time she sees her son and he's laughing, and she just remembers him in this moment, his last moment, with such love and affection. I think David is one of the strongest stories in the book, and it kicks the book off with such a bang that I was like, what else is she going to do to me? Did you guys feel the same way? I thought David was amazing. I'm going to look for the next short story title that I wanted to talk about. So I will be honest. My favorite short stories were really in the first half of the book. There are great stories in the second half of the book, but the ones I want to talk to you guys about are all in the first half. But I do want to say that I thought Aviation was the strongest story in the second half of the book, and very, very good. But this video would go on forever if I talked about all of them. So here, let's talk about Foreign Soil, the name story. This is the story of a woman who marries a man and goes back to his country with him. And I want to say, you know what? I'm taking a moment because I want to say that the country is Nigeria. But that could be because I read so much stuff by Nigerians and I don't want that to be incorrect. But we have the main character who meets the man who gets his hair cut, and she sort of falls in love with him in the idea of him, right? And as the story progresses and gets darker and darker, you start to realize that the author is telling us that we don't know people as well as we think we do at times when we feel we're in love with them. Does that make sense? So she, our main character, is so in love with this man that she's blind maybe to any of his flaws. And as she moves to his home country and moves into the house, into this compound, because clearly there is a lot she does not understand, right? She doesn't understand the country, she doesn't understand the politics, she doesn't understand the culture. And she gets there and she's more or less housebound, right? And what she does, what the author does so brilliantly is the husband continuously does one thing after another, right? That you're going as a reader, oh my God, this man, flee. You've got to go. You've got to go. And our author keeps forgiving him because it turns out she doesn't know him that well. And she keeps saying, oh, this isn't him. This isn't the him I know. And you're like, but this is the him that he's showing himself to be. And I nearly gasped in my seat when her passport was missing. Did you guys? I was like, oh no. This woman, she is stuck. And I knew that she knew that her husband was not a man. And well, and I keep saying husband because that's the dynamic, but they're technically and legally not married, right? So what happens is she's been kidnapped by this man and being held hostage with no legal sort of connection between them. And then her passport goes missing, and then the pregnancy. And she tries to hide the pregnancy. She has created this story in her mind. And it's sort of that idea that some writers do so well of the victim and the person who is being victimized excusing the person who is making them a victim and trying to create a way out of the situation. Now, she thinks that she's going to leave. You know, at the end of the story, or in the middle of the story-ish, she thinks that they're going to go home to England, where she's from, and they're going to return, and then she may not return back with him, but he has completely different plans. And this, to me, was the most frightening story because it was so real and so based in a sense of reality that part of me was like, this could definitely happen. This probably does happen, and we don't hear about it. And it was powerful. And then his reaction to her hiding the baby, yeah, I was wary when he walked in and he sort of charmed her. Then I became super nervous, and then by the end of it, I was like, oh my gosh, this whole story, we have been giving clues that this man is horrible. And then he does something horrible, and yeah. That she's so good, guys. Did you guys like Foreign Soil? I really thought that, to me, it was the most real story in that I felt like it could have been pulled from the headlines. I felt like it was right there. I could have been listening to something that was happening on the news. So the last story that I want to talk to you guys about is Railton Road. Another story that just blew me away. So in this story, right, we have this character who wants to become, or is trying to combine these two factions that are fighting for a civil rights independence, right? They're trying to, in theory, they have the same mission. But one of them goes about it in a very, very different way. And this is the story where the author, Maxine Beneba Clark, really attacks the idea of inner, and it's not inner racism. It's sort of like the judgment that this Black community has against other people in their own Black community. Because, you know, in this story, we have this man who's sort of been challenged that he's going to be involved in an act that's going to bring him into the fold, right? And that act is basically to shame a Black woman who is thought or proven, it's still sort of hypothetical in my opinion, to be having a relationship with a white man. And the two different perspectives, our main character who is going forward as he wants to do this because he wants, you know, inclusion. But he knows it's wrong. He knows what he's doing is wrong. And you keep hoping that he's going to make different choices, right? And then you have the leader of the faction who is so intent in his belief, it's almost enveloping. Like, you know what he's doing or is going to do, and what he winds up doing is so wrong. But he is so passionate about it. It's like those leaders that exist in the world today. That get people to believe in an idea that to some people from the outside seems preposterous, but the buy-in is so great because of the charismatic nature of the leader. Now, the woman who is sort of the apex of the story has no idea what's going on, doesn't understand why she's being punished, maybe until the very moment when the punishment happens. She, to me, was sort of the telltale sign. She was a Black woman looking in upon, right? this situation and hearing it from the outside and maybe not understanding the political points of view of our two characters. Now, when they put the chain around her neck, that image will stay with me for a very, very long time. It's this idea of this woman dating this white man, putting herself back into a form of slavery. That's a very powerful, powerful statement. And it has made me think a lot. And I'm not sure that Maxine Beneba Clark wants to give any sort of definitive decisions for anybody. She wants every perspective to be analyzed and understood and really dissected. And it's brilliant. The story is freaking brilliant. That to me is the best story when it comes to just captivating me into thinking and thought. Yeah. So this is why I can only talk about 3 stories, guys. The video is already 20 minutes. So I hope you guys really enjoyed Foreign Soil by Maxine Beneba Clark. I know I did. I think that she is a brilliant writer. I hope she puts out a novel. I am on the search for the hate race. And I adore her. And I think this was brilliant. And I hope you guys enjoyed reading it with me. So again, a reminder, next month we will be reading Kiss of the Spider Woman. I hope you guys have gotten your copy. And we will be reading that by the end of June. And at the beginning of June-ish, I will make an announcement on what we're going to do with the book club moving forward and the book for July. And so as always, if you are a return subscriber, thank you so much. I enjoy having you here. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you like this video and you join the book club. And until next time, happy reading, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!